Hey everyone, in this video I decided to paint a bunch of leaf doodles using 9 different colors of green gouache. All of these colors come from Holbein, and I start with the first one, moss green. This color is one of my favorite colors that I use. I use it a lot of my landscape videos, so if you've ever seen any of my Bolter Design Co. Landscapes, you've seen this color. It is used a lot in my mountains. It's used in a lot of my grass colors and a lot of my wildflowers. It's just one of my favorite colors from them. It just has a very nice warm, and it's just not too warm. So this green is definitely one of my go-tos. So number 1 on my list is moss green. Right here, I'm just painting a couple of my other favorites, eucalyptus. I use a lot of this stuff when I am painting a lot of my vase flowers and vase videos. So if you're really interested in green, I suggest picking up a moss green from Holbein. All right, the next green we have is ash green. It is a cool green, and it is along the lines of a grayish green. I like this color to use for some of my eucalyptus as well, because I think it has a nice gray tone to it. So it's not coming off too bright or too vivid in your face. It has a nice muted color. Even when you add some permanent white to it, like I did there, you can see it comes off a little bit more gray than green, but it is a very nice green to have in your color palette. I wouldn't say it's primarily one of the greens that you should collect right off the start, but is definitely a green that you should have later on as you've collected your greens. So again, this is ash green, very beautiful color. Next up, I got my cadmium green. One of probably the green I'd say that you need in your palette is a cadmium green. It is just your traditional green. It is, I wouldn't say too warm or too cool. It's just right in the middle. This is like your typical green that you would go to. So this should be one of the top greens that you have in your palettes, in your box, that you use consistently probably. Yeah, so this, I'm just doing some more leaves, just leaf doodles, right? We're just having fun. We're not trying to do anything too crazy. With all of these leaves that I did, I just wanted to focus on my brush strokes. So when I create these leaves, I'm just kind of going from the tiny tip of the brush to kind of fattening it up and then ending with that little tip. All right, next up we got our Terravert or Terravert. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I gotta say this is one of the greens that I've used always in my color palette. I've been using this color since I've really started with gouache. I used it when I was working with watercolor. It is just one of my all-time go-tos. I use this color because I think it is very, I guess it resembles cactus the most in my green color palettes. So I use this green a lot. I also love this green because it has a hint of transparency. So when I'm painting, you can see a little bit of transparency that comes through. You see a little bit of those brush strokes while I'm painting. And I just think it adds a lot to the painting when you can see those details, and it just comes off a little bit more of a painting and not so flat. So I've always loved to use this green. I think it's a very wonderful green. You could even see some of that transparency as I'm swatching it out there for you. But yes, Terravert, definitely a green that you should have in your palette. Next up, we have leaf green. I think leaf green is one of those colors that I've purchased in the past thinking I would use this color a lot, but I really don't. If you have cadmium green in your color palette and you have cadmium yellow, you can certainly make a light, bright green like this leaf green. And that's what I tend to do most often, because you get a lot of different shades of that cadmium yellow and cadmium green mixture, where it's not always going to be that same leaf green color. So I would suggest grab yourself that cadmium green, grab some cadmium yellow. You could definitely make a leaf green out of it. But if you want to use this kind of color a lot in your color palette, then I would suggest getting a leaf green. Yeah, it's not a bad green though. I do enjoy how vibrant it is. I've seen a lot of other brands use a leaf green where it just doesn't come off as vibrant as this. I even think the video showing the leaf green in this isn't giving it or doing it a little bit of justice. I think it comes off a lot more vivid and bright in person. So yeah, that's your leaf green. Up next, we have our turquoise green. Again, this is one of my all-time favorite go-to paints that I love to use. You just can't get this kind of color out of mixing anything else. So I've had turquoise green in my color palette all the time. I love to use it because it gives me that vivid, bright green that I am looking for in a lot of my desert paintings. I also love this color because I like to use it in some of my landscape paintings. So when I'm looking for that bright, vivid green, this is a really beautiful color to use for water. So yes, I highly recommend picking yourself up some turquoise green if you're looking for any of that bright, vivid color in your pieces. All right, next up we got Cypress Green. I love to use this color a lot in my landscape pieces actually. So I use this color for my pine trees. I think it's a very nice, lovely shade when you're creating some of your pine trees in a wintry scene. If you're looking for more shades of green, I think this is a really nice, cool green to go to. So sometimes I'll use different cooler shades of green mixed on top of this or layered on top of this. So you'll get a lot of different colors. So maybe a darker shade of that cadmium green I'll layer as a pine tree on top of this cypress green pine tree. And I think that just gives you some added depth when you're creating your landscape pieces. This is also a nice green when you're trying to create some wintry water. So mix it with some permanent white and you've got some nice water. Next up, another one of my favorites, olive green. I use this similar to my moss green. I use it in a lot of my landscape pieces. So if I'm not using my moss green, I am using my olive green. And I think it just gives a different sense of landscape color when I am using olive green over my moss green. It just kind of adds a different feeling. So it has a different warmth to it. It's a little bit more yellow and it has a more summery vibe to it. So when I'm looking for that warmer landscape, I love to go to this color. This is again this is olive green and I recommend it. Get it for your color palette. It is awesome. Lastly, we're doing emerald green. This is a fairly new green in my palette. I have used it a few times. I think it has a cool tropical color to it. So I decided to do a little freehand Monstera plant right here, leaf with this color. I think it's a pretty cool color to use for some tropical plants. Other than that, I haven't really used it too much. I think it does it almost reminds me of a cadmium green meets that turquoise green. So it's like right there in the middle. And I could see some more uses out of this going forward. But yeah, this is just, I probably picked this up a month ago. I haven't used it too often to get too familiar with it, but I just wanted to show you. So yeah, this is emerald green. I hope you like this color. You can see some of that. I added some permanent white there to make it a little bit lighter there. Yeah, very nice color. Well, all right, there we go. We had our 9 leaf doodles with our 9 color swatches of Holbein green. What was your favorite green? Did you have one? Do you like a different green or suggest something? Write it down in the comments for me and let me know. Also, please like and subscribe for my video if you really enjoyed this, and I'll try to make some more.